not pun to be made, but he was far too tired to think of it. "It's a bit too late for wisdom, isn't it?" "Never too late for wisdom, I would say." Perhaps not, but it was late. There was no point in standing here arguing until it got even later. The why of Griffin's tie to Mithrin was less important than the how, and neither was as important as the what. No matter the reason, that tie was indeed there. And since Mithrin was the only one who knew the recipe for one of the few weapons that could defeat a dragon, it seemed a good idea to make use of it. Griffin grimaced at himself in the mirror. "You really expect that my face will just, transform into Mithrin's?" "I don't know that I'd say I expect anything," Not said, "but I do have high hopes for this one." This one referred to a ritual from some far-off land or other, ferreted out the summer before, when the Magisters were researching customs for contacting the dead. With the proper spell pulling at the intended deceased, the mirror, an ordinary, mundane one, was supposed to help pierce the veil, and allow the dead to pierce it back. It hadn't worked for the Magisters trying to contact Borald then, and there was little reason to believe it would work now. Still, the attempt must be made, if only to rule it out. Over the past month they had employed a dizzying and occasionally sickening variety of spells, potions, tonics, and locations in the attempt to get Mithrin's connection with Griffin to work both ways. They'd tried everything from the relatively straightforward magic practiced by the Cairds to complex and arcane rituals from ancient times and distant kingdoms. They'd tried to find a way for Griffin to speak with Mithrin directly, and they'd tried to find a way for Not to use Griffin's mind as a sort of conduit, through which the sage could speak with Mithrin instead. They'd tried when Griffin was asleep and when he was awake. On one memorable occasion they'd even tried with him submerged in the pool below the waterfall, until he was certain he would drown. All in vain. Mithrin hadn't even appeared in one of Griffin's dreams for weeks now. Whether whatever magic Not was doing was actually making matters worse, or the mad magician was simply being difficult, Griffin could not say, though were he forced to wager, he'd have put his silver on the latter. Working at night had the advantage of the veil being at its thinnest, but it also meant the dead could observe them. In other words, Mithrin knew what they were up to, and why would he make things easier for the man who had, only a month before, turned him to stone, then smashed the stone to bits? Because he hates the dragons even more. Griffin nodded at his reflection. This was the argument he meant to try first, if he ever got to talk to the mad wizard again. Convincing him to give them the elixir recipe freely sounded easier than somehow tricking him into it. Not that either prospect seemed precisely easy. Griffin was hardly a master manipulator. But he'd best get on with the trying in any case. "All right," he said to Not. "One more time, then." Not drank from the water skin at his belt, while Griffin stretched his neck and got back into position, palms pressed to his bloody handprints, staring into his own sunken eyes. "Focus on the tapping," said Not. "Concentrate." With that he began to drum together the iron spoons he held between the fingers of his right hand. The candles flared up. The wormwood smell, which Griffin detested, grew stronger. Griffin focused on the rhythmic beating of the spoons, while Not began to speak, his voice low, slow, soft. "Look into the mirror." Tap, tap, tap. "Look into the candlelight. Look into the darkness." Tap, tap, tap. "Look into the reflection of the realm of the living." Tap, tap, tap. Not went on and on, making poetic mirror analogies, talking about the realm of the living and its reflection in the realm of the dead. It was all meant to put Griffin into some sort of trance, but the constant reminders that the dead were at that time of night all around them only broke his concentration. It made him think of his parents. They were surely watching. What did they